I realized we were no longer on the same side the moment she said, "That's personal, don't touch it," about her phone, the same phone that used to lie between us on the couch. We had moved to the city 6 months earlier after a rough stretch. She lost her job, I had a long illness, and we relocated fast for a new opportunity. Everyone around us said we were strong for surviving it. Stuff like that either breaks you or brings you closer. I thought we were the second kind. I was wrong, and I didn't see it right away. We'd been together almost 3 years, no kids, used to sharing everything. Food, plans, anxieties. The move was supposed to be a reset. New neighborhood, new apartment, new routines. Instead of feeling like we made it, there was a constant exhaustion from conflict. Not loud fights, but small, sticky ones that never really ended, just got postponed. I caught myself thinking, not today, more and more often. She did too. The first warning sign was strange because it sounded reasonable. She started protecting her personal boundaries. Passwords, notifications off, phone always face down. "I just need a bit of space," she said one evening. "I need space" sounds healthy until it only goes one way. I nodded because I didn't want to be the guy who suffocates his partner. But inside it felt different. We used to share that space. A couple weeks later, I noticed she'd picked up new phrases, like she'd adopted someone else's vocabulary. Toxic, triggering, emotional labor. I'm not against new words, but they didn't sound like her, like someone else was feeding her lines. She's speaking in someone else's voice. I told myself not to invent problems. Our arguments got shorter and colder. "Are you mad again?" I'd ask. "I'm not mad. You're just too sensitive." "You're too sensitive." Sometimes she added, "You're insecure. This is starting to look unhealthy." "You're insecure." One day I noticed parts of her message threads looked clipped. Not entire conversations gone, but holes in the middle. The start was there, the end was there, but the center was missing. I saw it by accident when she asked me to find a delivery address, then quickly took the phone back. "Don't scroll," she said. "That's work. That's work." I started doubting myself again. After being sick, I really had become more anxious. Maybe my brain was just hunting for threats. I tried not to ask questions because every question turned into defense. And I was tired of conflict. I wanted quiet. The turning point didn't come from proof, but from a feeling. We were sitting in the kitchen eating boxed pasta, and she told a story about a divorce at her office. He was convinced she was cheating, and it turned out to be pure paranoia, she said. Destroyed everything himself. Then she looked at me for a second too long. "She's warning me." In that moment, I felt it clearly. I wasn't just being lied to. I was being played, tested to see if I'd swallow it. I didn't argue, I started observing. Silent pressure isn't healthy, but it was the only thing I had left. I stopped asking and started noticing details. What time she locked herself in the bathroom with her phone. How often she used Do Not Disturb. How quickly notifications disappeared. "Nothing happened," she'd say when my silence stretched too long. One evening, while she was in the shower, I remembered the old tablet. We bought it in our first year together, and it was still linked to her account. It had been sitting in a drawer with documents. I turned it on, not expecting much, mostly to prove to myself that I was losing it. The notifications loaded slowly. Then fragments appeared, messages without beginnings, lines without context. "I miss you. Yesterday got too close. We need to be careful." and big gaps where messages had been deleted. Fragmented deletions like someone carefully cut out the center. I didn't panic. I felt oddly calm. The puzzle started to assemble. I didn't see names. I didn't see confessions. But I saw intent. And I saw how much effort went into hiding it. I said nothing that night. We went to bed turned away from each other like hostile roommates. In the morning she asked, "You're really quiet." "Just thinking," I said. She nodded, but there was worry in her eyes. She felt the pressure. The next few days were tense and silent. I didn't accuse, didn't ask, didn't check. I just watched. And the calmer I became, the more restless she got. "Are you mad at me?" "No." "Then what's wrong with you?" "Nothing." "Nothing," a word she used often. Friday evening, she said, "I'll be late. Don't wait up." I nodded, and for the first time, I really didn't wait. I already knew what that sentence meant. "I'll be late" had become a marker, a headline. She won't be home on time again. She came back after midnight, smelling like a perfume that wasn't hers. Too light, too sweet. "You're still up?" "Yes." "Can we talk?" I looked at her and knew a version was coming. "If you want to say something, say it," I said calmly. She started with defense. "You've been weird lately, pressuring me. I feel controlled." "I haven't asked you anything," I said, "but I feel it. You watch me. You watch me, like an accusation. You feel that way because you're hiding something," I said evenly. She went quiet. Then, nothing happened. Nothing happened. "Okay," I said. "Then explain the deleted messages." She snapped her head up. "What messages?" "The ones still on the old tablet." That's where it broke. No screaming, no tears, just silence, long and sticky. She sat on the edge of the chair like she didn't know whether to stand or collapse. "You went through my things. I turned on a device we bought together. That's crossing boundaries. What about the boundary of honesty?" She tried the familiar route again. "You're imagining too much." "I'm reading what's written," I said, "and noticing what's missing." She didn't fully confess. She explained that it had been hard, that the move knocked her off balance, that I'd been irritable and closed off, that she needed someone who would just listen. "It doesn't mean anything," she kept saying. "It doesn't mean anything." Another short phrase ready for a thumbnail. I listened and understood that trust was already gone. Even if nothing physical happened, emotionally we'd been replaced. "You could have come to me," I said. "Instead, you chose secrecy." "I didn't want to hurt you. You hurt me by making me feel crazy." We sat there for a long time. No yelling, no scene. The silence did the work. Eventually she asked, "So what now?" A pause, I said. "The kind that decides everything." We lived 2 more weeks in the same apartment, like a waiting room. I gathered documents, looked for a place, moved things slowly. She was quieter, politer. Sometimes tried to joke, like we could rewind. But every time she took her phone and stepped away toward the window, I knew nothing had reset. On the day I moved out, she stood in the doorway and said, "You're really leaving like this?" "I'm leaving quietly," I said. "You already said everything loudly enough." She didn't cry, just asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes." Now I live alone. The city is still new, but it's easier to breathe in it. I don't listen for footsteps in the hallway or count time windows anymore. Sometimes I think it might have been easier if I'd exploded. Then I remember the phrases that echoed in our apartment like verdicts. "You're too sensitive." "That's personal." "Nothing happened." And I realized the silence was more honest.